Mula Bandha, or root lock, begins at the pelvic floor. While seated, if you've ever done Kegel exercises, it's very similar to those. So you can contract the muscles of your pelvic floor. Any muscles that you can find will do to begin with. As you become able to feel and control those muscles better, you can start to differentiate. But in the beginning, just try contracting the muscles of the pelvic floor and releasing the muscles of the pelvic floor. Contracting, and other muscles might also contract and release, and that's okay. We just want to try to find these muscles because it's a little subtle and sometimes hard to find. This is our foundation for our core in our yoga asana practice, are these muscles of the pelvic floor. If you're in a standing pose, you're drawing muscles and energy from the bottom of the feet up into the pelvic floor. But since we're in a seated pose right now, we're just going to start with the pelvic floor. Mula Bandha. Next is Uddiyana Bandha, which translates to flying up. Uddiyana Bandha is what in modern terms we call the core, and it's basically the low belly, the area below your belly button. Here's the belly button, here's the low belly, that draws in and then lifting up from there to the top of the chest. Uddiyana Bandha in its most extreme form is seen in seated breath retentions, where yogis will scoop out the abdominal cavity while seated in breath retentions. But we do a much milder version of that in our asana practice. We just want to be moving the energy up the body so that instead of getting something like this happening, this kind of slumping, I'll turn sideways so you can see better, which is normal. As we pull into the pelvic floor, that helps us sit more upright on the sit bones. As we draw the low belly in and lift it up to the top of the chest, you can see how that's already helping us achieve better alignment and better posture. When we have better alignment and our bones stack on top of each other, it's just easier to resist gravity. It's just like playing Jenga, and you just want to try to stack the body parts as best you can. And that's what we use our muscles for, is just to stack the bones into the proper location. So bandhas. There's a third bandha. We have Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, flying up, and then there's Jalandhara Bandha, the throat lock. This bandha we won't talk about as much. It's used more in pranayama, which is breathing practice, and in breath retention. But it's sometimes called the net. So it's made by, again, you'll probably see this one better from the side. After you've engaged Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, then Jalandhara Bandha is the final point. So the chest is lifting up, and you scoop, and the chin drops down slightly. And we will use this in Ashtanga, in our final pranayama, and in other practices only if you're doing a pranayama, a breathing specific practice, seated. So Jalandhara Bandha. Next is Drishti, or focal point. When your focal point is up, the whole body tends to follow where the eyes go. When your focal point is down, again, the whole body tends to follow. Commonly, I'll see people in balance poses looking down, because that's usually a very comforting place to look. But if they're looking straight down instead of down and farther away, then their whole body will follow that and kind of slump and collapse. Whereas if they look down but a little farther away, then their body can straighten out a little bit more. So where you look is really important. An easy way to start to feel your body in space and get it oriented where you want it to be. Breath, bandhas, drishti.